This is former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver J.J. Bird, and you're watching the Outsider Sports Show.
The measuring stick just changed around here, buddy. You're looking at it.
That's cool.
Ho, 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 and welcome to the Outsider Sports Show. It's Clint Switzer, it's Noah Gronniger, and we are talking National Football League. We're talking playoffs. It is looming. The holidays are here, Noah. I couldn't be more excited. If you stuff me in a gift box, wrap me up and put a bow around me and put me under a Christmas tree, buddy.
Well, with 2 weeks left and the Chiefs almost guaranteed a playoff spot, it is exciting here in Kansas City. Everyone is going to be excited. After the Chiefs beat the Browns and the Raiders, it's almost guaranteed, and we're heading to the playoffs, folks.
Well, it is apparently the Chiefs have to keep winning. There's no doubt about that. We're going to be talking about all the scenarios, Kansas City's win over Baltimore, the NFL playoffs in general, and we're going to be having a very special guest, Noah. Dale Carter, the former Chief All-Pro cornerback, will be joining us in his first interview since retiring from the NFL. You heard it right here first. Dale Carter is going to be joining us, and I can't wait to talk to Dale about his career. He's someone that hasn't really been around the Chiefs organization in years. He hasn't really done a lot of interviews. I'm excited to talk to him. He is one of my favorite all-time Kansas City Chiefs, players, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Great player, All-Pro. He had 7 interceptions as a rookie, and right now Marcus Peters, Chiefs rookie, has 7 right now as well. Perhaps shoe in for Defensive Rookie of the Year at this point.
Yeah, Marcus Peters has to be. You mentioned his 7 interceptions. He could eclipse Dale Carter's record of 7 interceptions as a rookie coming up here in the next couple weeks. It's going to be exciting to have Dale Carter on. I mean, I looked up to this guy growing up. I went out in my backyard, pretended I was Dale Carter, had his jersey. Didn't have quite the athleticism. Couldn't go on the offensive side of the ball as well as Dale Carter did with as much success. And really that two-way player that we haven't seen in such a long time. Deion Sanders, Dale Carter did that back in the day.
Yeah, Dale was he's a guy that did it all. Returned punts, played receiver, was a lockdown corner. Talk about with him playing alongside James Hasty, who came in 95. We're going to ask him about that. And a whole lot more, maybe his comparison to, a lot of people talking about Chiefs fans, the comparison to Marcus Peters, the rookie who's having a sensational rookie season for this team and a much-needed athletic corner. And the teams keep testing Marcus Peters, man. They keep testing him. He gives up some plays here and there, but he just keeps battling. I love that in a player. I love that in a corner. Short-term memory. That's what Marcus Peters has. A big reason why the Chiefs are where they are. Plus 15 in the turnover margin right now. Chiefs second in the league behind only Carolina in that category. That has keyed this turnaround. 8 in a row for Kansas City. It's an unbelievable situation to be in right now. It's almost surreal after starting 1-5. Only the 1970 Bengals ever started a season 1-5 and made the playoffs. The Chiefs have to keep winning. There's 3 teams. There's 2 wildcard spots, but there's a lot more scenarios that even see the Chiefs winning the division. That is perhaps on the horizon. We don't know right now because of Denver's situation.
Yeah, Cincinnati's going to have to beat Denver if we're going to want to sneak in for the division lead, but A.J. McCarron, I don't know if he can do it against the Broncos, but they are having quarterback issues. Brock Osweiler has a hurt left shoulder. Peyton Manning's wanting to play, still got the hurt foot. So things are up in the air. That's going to be a great game between the Broncos and Bengals. It's really up in the air. A.J. Green can make a ton of plays. You saw what the Steelers receivers did against that Broncos secondary. A.J. Green can do just that.
What do you do if you're Denver? I think a lot of people are talking about Peyton Manning and saying, well, yeah, you just put him in. You're going to play Peyton Manning when he's ready to go. I don't know about that. I think that I understand the concept of, this is maybe the last season as the window is closing for Denver. They do have a great defense. That can continue. I just don't know. I think that Denver's going to they want to win now. They think they can make one last run, and Peyton Manning is the guy that maybe you lean on, but what you saw from Peyton Manning before he got injured, I just don't know. He's clearly declined. Brock Osweiler's had some good games. They've beaten teams like the Patriots with him at the helm. I think that maybe you just ride this thing out with Osweiler and build for the future.
Yeah, you're going to have to see Peyton get 100%, and I don't even know if that can happen. You're going to have to see him in practice, see how he looks. If the balls are still fluttering, even if he does look kind of sharp in practice, like you mentioned, Osweiler has been pretty impressive. Yes, they've kind of stalled in second halves lately, but they need more consistent running game that they haven't found. They they thought they did when Osweiler first came in. They got him under center. The running game was going. C.J. Anderson, Ronnie Hillman, they got things going, but there's been a lot of fumbles in the running game. They haven't been consistent, so that's really slowed them down the second half. Well, when Osweiler has to carry the team and keep throwing and teams are expecting it, Osweiler, he can't put all that on his shoulders just yet as he really gets his first chance to start in the NFL.
Well, let's talk about the scenarios for the Chiefs, who are at 9-5. Like I said, if you're talking about a wild card situation, there's 3 teams in the Chiefs, Steelers, and Jets. Chiefs have tiebreakers over both of those teams. Jets have to host the New England Patriots. That could, very easily knock the Jets out of this situation. And we'll see where we go from here. The Chiefs host the Browns on Sunday. This Browns team is just really struggling towards the bottom of the league in just about every statistical category. They don't force turnovers. They don't tackle. They don't make plays offensively. They can't run the ball. They're just not very good. Johnny Football coming to call in, though, and you never know. He does have some explosiveness. He's shown flashes, and I like Johnny. When he's had his head screwed on straight, I think he could be a dynamic playmaker. The Chiefs win this game easily. I'm sorry. Business-like performance.
Yeah, it really should be. I mean, as much as we love Johnny Manziel and the crazy plays he makes and the improvisation that he has out there on the field, he does have some weapons in Gary Barnard's the tight end, who's got 9 touchdowns, over 900 yards. Travis Benjamin is explosive, can take the top off the defense. Marcus Peters is going to have his hands full, as well as Sean Smith trying to keep up with him. I know they're really good corners, but nothing can prepare you for that kind of speed that Travis Benjamin has that can take the top off. And Johnny Manziel has a great deep ball, can scramble around. Travis Benjamin could be running a drag route, some short slant. Johnny Manziel's running back and forth across the field and then gives him the point, go deep, and he can take it off. Johnny can hit him, and that could be the big play that could break the Chiefs back. But I think still too many mistakes for Johnny. Marcus Peters is going to be Johnny on the spot. No tenant pundit. Actually, it isn't intended.
Chiefs are going to crush this team. The Browns are terrible. They're going to crush this team. There's this defense, the way that it's playing, is forcing turnovers. And you look onward into the playoffs. Normally, we look at it and we say, well, we have the worst quarterback going into the playoffs. This year, by default, due to attrition, the Chiefs may not have the worst quarterback going into the situation. Alex Smith has been his usual business-like self. I think last week another 190 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. That's his career. He is 15 yards away from Jeremy Maclin having 1,000 yards, his first 1,000-yard receiver in his 11-year career. That's unbelievable. In this situation, you look at Tom Brady, going in.
Ben Roethlisberger, if they make it in.
After that, you're talking who's going to be playing quarterback for these teams in the AFC. A.J. McCarron, Brock Osweiler / injured, beaten, old, crotchety Peyton Manning. I mean, T.J. Yates or Brandon Whedon in Houston.
Brian Hoyer. I mean, yeah. It's ugly in the AFC at quarterback. Alex Smith going in, assuming that the Steelers make it in, is definitely the third guy you're looking at right there behind Brady, behind Roethlisberger. Alex Smith, usually we're looking at it just a worst quarterback in the entire playoffs. I mean, too safe, can't throw the ball down the field, too risk averse. But right now, with his play, the way the entire team is playing team football, you look at him as the third option in the AFC playoffs, and Chiefs are looking like they could do some damage.
Well, before we get into more of those scenarios, we're going to go ahead and welcome our special guest, which is Dale Carter. He played corner for our Chiefs for 7 years. Dale, welcome to the Outsiders Sports Show. Happy holidays. How is everything going in your world, my man?
Oh, lovely, man. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Just so great to hear from you. What a lot of Chiefs fans, always asking about you. What's been going on in your world since you've been retired now since 2005? What's been going on in your world since then?
Oh, not much, man. Just slow motion, staying in my lane and doing my little foundation for the inner city youth.
Absolutely. We did read about that. Tell us a little bit more about that. We saw that you had been doing things like that, helping keep kids on the right path, and just tell us a bit more about that.
Oh yeah, of course. Just using my experience from my past, and to try to get these kids to understand, the ups and downs they can run into, just life. Period. To keep them in and out of trouble. Help them out with Christmas, feed the projects. I do like little stuff like that for the community.
Well, that's great to hear, Dale. Always great, especially during the holidays this time. And going back to your career, especially starting out as a Kansas City Chief, Everybody knows you're a great corner, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. You were Rookie of the Year in 1992, but I wanted to start off with you on the offensive side of the ball. There was a game in 1996 against the Seattle Seahawks. You got a 46-yard touchdown pass. How did that come about, you playing receiver on that day?
That's funny. It's just one of those things that Marty, just messing around in practice, and Marty told me to go on offense. I went on offense very scared because it's a whole different world on the offense instead of defense. Went over there and caught a couple balls, and somehow I scored a touchdown. It was funny. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, you had to do a lot of that kind of thing, especially earlier in your career. I mean, you returned punts, you played some receiver. What kind of role did Marty Schottenheimer? I mean, when you came in as a rookie in '92, I mean, was that something that you talked about with the coaching staff, Marty Schottenheimer? You basically making yourself available for anything that the team needed, I guess, at that point.
Well, of course, you come in as a rookie, regardless of where you picked or where you picked. You got to do everything. You got to do kickoff, punt return. Unfortunately, I was pretty good at all of it. I didn't mind doing it, and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, you even had a quote saying, I'm not a pretty boy. If Marty wants me to punt, I'll do it. If he wants me to play 100 plays a game, I'll do that too. So do you have any great Marty stories? I mean, one of the best coaches here in Kansas City in their franchise history. You got to have a Marty story. Everybody does.
It's a lot of Marty stories, There's a lot of Marty stories. There's a lot of Big Pat stories instead of Marty stories. Big Pat ran the show, his wife. So it was, we needed anything, we talked to her. But Marty was a great guy, one of the best coaches I ever was coach for us. He was a very, 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 very intelligent coach.
Well, as I want to talk about another player right now that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs right now, of course, Marcus Peters, the rookie corner from Washington, has 7 interceptions, tying, you had 7 as a rookie yourself. He's up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. How much have you seen of this current Chiefs team and of Marcus Peters? A lot of people making the comparison to you, actually.
Since I've retired from football, I really haven't watched it really too much. I've just been kind of out of football. I really haven't watched it too much. I love it. A lot of things that goes on in football, I watch on highlights, but I just don't sit down and just sit there and watch a lot of football that much these days.
You hear that from a lot of veterans. You guys, you played 13 years. A lot of people will say, once their time's done, they kind of step away from the game. That does happen quite frequently, and it's good to be able to do that and just kind of find other passions, find other things to do. So that's, very understandable, of course, and we'll see what comes of Marcus Peters and his career here in Kansas City. But, the Chiefs have still yet to win a playoff game since your team was able to accomplish that in '94, Dale. You guys went on the road and beat Houston. That's the last time this organization's won a playoff game. Take us back to that season and what it was like. First beating Pittsburgh, then going on the road beating Houston, and just what a magical run that was. Joe Montana at quarterback, Neil Smith, Derek Thomas, that great defense yourself. Just kind of go back and bring us back to that.
Well, just a lot of stuff I don't remember about playing with the Chiefs or playing football, period. It's kind of sad, but with that saying, we had some players on our team was unbelievable. I stepped on that field and saw those guys that played on our team, Neil Smith, Solomon Moore, Derek Thomas. It was just unbelievable. I didn't, when I left college, there was no talent on one team in college like we had in Kansas City, and it was mind-blowing. But, with saying that, those guys, man, were just unbelievable. Derek Thomas was the best player that I ever played with, ever. And just see that and be amazed with that, man. I'm just amazed with it, And sometimes I try to think about some of the stuff that I did, as my career. I go back and look at some of the highlights. It's kind of amazing to me that I even played football, really. It really is.
Well, can you talk about the first time you really have a 1-2 combo, another running mate alongside you at corner? In 1995, James Hasty comes along. Can you talk about your chemistry as cornerbacks and being one of the top tandems in the NFL?
Yeah, he was something else, man. He was big. He came to our team, I think from the Jets. He came from the Jets, and the guy was just huge. I didn't know what he would play. I thought he played safety or something like that. I was small, 185, and he was big, and he could move. And what was amazing about the guy, his footwork and how fast he was. And we could go left, we could go right. That was a good thing about James Hasty. He could play left, he could play right. He didn't mind switching with me at any time. So he was a very fun guy to play with.
Well, going back to your career, obviously you played with some great players, Joe Montana, Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen even had a quote about you saying, "I've seldom seen the quickness that Dale Carter has." Everybody talks about the other guy who does double duty, meaning Deion Sanders, but our guy's pretty special too. Can you just talk about Marcus Allen, playing with him, and also your kind of rivalry with Deion Sanders, you two being athletic, going both ways, playing receiver and corner?
It's a rivalry. I really didn't pay attention to Deion like that. I watched him when he, his highlights, and I thought he was the best corner in the league. That's what I thought. He was good. He's a good entertainer. But I always thought he was an entertainer that played, very well football. But I played football. I was just hard not play football, regardless of whatever I had to do, tackle, special teams. I just played football. And of course, Marty didn't like all that showboating anyway.
Definitely. Well, yeah. Talk about this, because you were finally able to unite with your brother, your half brother Jake Reed, in 2001 with the Minnesota Vikings, playing with Randy Moss, Chris Carter. Just take us back to that, because a lot of people, when early in your career, always said, well, Dale Carter, man, he was going to want to play with his brother at some point. He's going to wind up in Minnesota, and it finally did happen. I mean, talk about what it was like playing with him in Minnesota.
All right, it was cool. With a brother playing on the same team, you had to love it. With the guys, Randy Moss, he was just getting there. Chris Carter, who could catch anything. It was amazing to play with those guys. On the offense, I know the offense will be on the field longer than, what I expected from Kansas City. Those guys are good. Those guys were really good in Kansas City, but those guys on offense was excellent. They had some weapons, and they just worked together. But it was real fun playing with my brother, man. I always have. There's something that I'll never forget. Ever.
Well, after that, you move on, you go play with the Saints, and then you end up with the Baltimore Ravens. Talk about playing with players like Ray Lewis. You finally team up and play with Deion Sanders, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed is there. Talk about that time in Baltimore.
Oh, man, I had a ball in Baltimore. I was winding it down then. It was kind of one of those things that, the career was about over with, and, we had some Mario Rowe, Chris McAllister, Ed Reed, Deion. We had so many guys in the back that we couldn't get on the football field, They couldn't get on the football with each other. And we had the young boy Suggs, and you had the Ray Lewis, the beast. It was just crazy. The old little guys that I've seen play on different teams, and at the end of my career, I was playing with them. It was just everybody on the field. They couldn't get on the field. Everybody was great.
Well, looking back at your 7 years here in Kansas City, and you've been retired from the game now for 10 years, and definitely moved on and just kind of enjoying yourself now, which is wonderful. And I just kind of want to know, do you have any regrets about your career looking back? I mean, obviously you've kind of stepped away from the game at this point. Do you have any regrets looking back on your career, specifically here in Kansas City?
Of course, I have regrets. I have a lot of regrets. The history of me up in Kansas City and my league. I was a kind of a rowdy guy. And I didn't think about anything, didn't care about too much, and, there was just a lot of personal things going on with me. But, looking back at it, I wish, I have regrets. I wish I would have, been a better teammate. That's all. Just a better teammate and a better football player for my coaches.
Well, you were a great player here. You're definitely beloved here in Kansas City, Dale, and it's definitely important to know that, because I know you kind of stay off the radar these days. We're just so glad to be able to have this conversation with you, because it definitely takes us back. We were both, Noah and I, just huge fans. You come into the league and just that kind of athleticism, it really added so much to our defense, and you've always been a name that over the years Kansas City Chiefs fans, they always ask about, Dale Carter. So we're so glad to be able to have a conversation with you and talk to you, man. I'm just glad to hear you're doing well and keeping it real down in Georgia, man. That's got to be a good thing. You're from down there, right?
Yeah, from Covington, Georgia, man. Came back home. Once you leave home, I always say you come back, and I came back. I'm here living my mom's home, and my little girl, Olivia, and we just slow motion, man, just taking in, spending a lot of time with her, so life is good for me right now. It's really slow.
Well, that's great to hear, Dale. I tell you what, I hope you and your family have just a wonderful Christmas. Happy holidays to you. Thanks so much for joining us. Can't thank you enough. We'll definitely catch up again soon, and just enjoy the holidays, my man.
Great. Thank you, guys, and good luck this year, Chiefs.
You betcha.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Thanks a lot, Dale.
Take care.
All right.
A big thanks to Dale Carter for joining us, Noah. It was a pleasure to have him on. Again, the first interview he's done. He doesn't do a lot of press. He doesn't do a lot of really reminiscing about his career. Clearly, he was a guy that came in, played the game. When he was out, he was out. I mean, and that happens. You see that a lot in this league, because the people get a lot from football, and I think football takes a lot from players, and they sometimes it's just hard for them to go back and sort of embrace everything that it gave them, maybe.
Well, not only that, but these guys have played football since they were pee-wee, going in middle school, high school, college, now the pros, and people watch it on Sundays and, oh, great players, and, oh, he's making fantastic plays. But what about all the work that goes in during the week, the preparation, just the film study, just the mental capacity that it takes to play this game, as well as the physical toll it takes on you after a career, especially one as long as Dale Carter's? I mean, sometimes you are just done. You've lived your football life, and now it's time to focus on family and yourself and foundations and giving back and helping your community, going back home like Dale did to Covington, Georgia. And that's what he's done, and God bless him.
Well, it was great to hear from Dale, and it'll be interesting to see where this Chiefs team goes from here, guys, because, it's riding this 8-game winning streak right now. Chiefs fans are – I think Chiefs fans who are normally overzealous – would that be a word you could use? Chiefs fans...
It's a nice way of saying it.
Despite having not won a playoff game for almost 22 years, Chiefs fans always show up. They're great. It's a great fan base. Overzealous. But in this case, I think I sent some cautious optimism maybe throughout this winning streak, because I think people, even the most ardent Chiefs fans, are still are a bit stung at this point by some of the past. And that's going to be the case. I'm telling you what, if you ask me, if we go to Houston, for the first round of the playoffs, I'm going to be nervous as could be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to assume that Houston's going to come up with some random play, some blocked extra point at the end of the game, or just Cairo Santos misses 3 field goals a la Lynn Elliott, or even though it looks on paper that we should beat the Colts or even the Bengals with an A.J. McCarron, or
Denver with Brock Osweiler.
Yes, Denver with Brock
Manning,
Osweiler. The Texans, I mean, the Texans are leading. The Colts still could make it in. Texans with Brandon Whedon or Brian Hoyer. I mean, it looks like the Chiefs have the advantage in the first round, maybe even the second round if they go up against the Bengals or Broncos. I mean, but you just never know, especially with this team, their history of bumbling away playoff games. Anything's up for grabs.
Well, we'll see how that goes. For everyone's sake, we hope that is not the case, but it has just been wonderful. And, guys, make sure you check out for all our stuff, guys. It's available. It's all out in the interwebs. Please, our website, greatamericansportsnetwork.com. Of course, our podcast, available on iTunes. Always go and download, subscribe. Check it out on iTunes. I know it's easy. You're going to the gym? Just check it out, man. You don't need to go in there listening to Motley Crue and AC/DC. No. Outsider Sports Show. The Outsider Sports Podcast. It's available, and, of course, on YouTube. All of our videos, all of our stuff. Archived. It's all there.
Yeah, and more great interviews coming up. Exclusive with Dale Carter. He doesn't do these interviews. We get it right here and only here on the Outsider Sports Podcast.
Happy holidays. I imagine all of you sitting around. A fire is burning in the background. Grandmother
Chestnuts roasting
sits down with her appetizers, handing them out. Grandpa smoking a cigar in his favorite chair. The children gathered around the Christmas tree, looking longingly, shaking gifts. Mother baking a Christmas ham.
Dressed up like
I can just picture it as if it were my own Christmas. Snow slightly falls outside.
Everybody knows.
Thank you guys so much.